Hi.
Hey, you can't see me, but that's all right.
He fixed our camera, but not his own camera.
Yeah. I mean, the beautiful thing is, on camera, this looks all right.
Yeah, it's fine. They can't tell how you're sideways right now in your chair.
Yeah, there's something weird going on with it too. So we switched a bunch of stuff up, and we're excited about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be way better. We have a special guest today. We're joined by District 40 Senator Jose Castaneda. So
thanks for coming back, Jose.
Yeah. Thanks for showing us enough love for that. We didn't offend you too much.
No. Well, I hope it's the other way around too. I offend you guys too much.
Never.
I'm pretty steadfast in what I believe, and
we're ready for it.
Hold
ready
on.
for it. So excited about that. Then also, let's see. Today is National Podcasters Day.
Yes, we had a special friend, friend of the show stop by this morning.
We had Kevin Burkhardt, and he dropped us off some pretty good facts. So we're gonna go through those.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Sweden leads the world in podcast consumption. Bet you did not see that coming.
Hey, if you're Swedish, shout out.
Yeah, we maybe had a couple of those in town.
Yeah, I bet during the Höstfest, you betcha.
A few people from Sweden were in town during the Höstfest.
Oh, for sure.
In 2021, the German market and consumer data firm Statista released a report titled Where Podcasts Are Most Popular, according to surveys of 1,000 to 5,700 respondents per country. Sweden topped the list of 54 countries.
Wow.
Fact number 2, Twitter was born from a failed podcasting platform.
So look at that.
Bet you did not see that coming.
Not a chance.
Nope, not a chance he did. Twitter is one of the most influential social media sites on the internet, but unlike Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, it wasn't originally intended to be used as a social media platform.
What the heck?
And we have a spelling error, so we'll get that fixed. Number 2, Twitter, or number 3, one of the first MP3 podcasts was a track from the Grateful Dead.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Didn't see that coming. While working on the creation of RSS feeds, podcasting pioneer Dave Weiner was asked to develop something that at the time was known as audio blogging. RSS only worked with text, but with Adam Curry's help, the pair figured out a solution to include large file types. And then this one's probably my favorite.
What is it?
Microsoft wasn't happy that podcast was named after the iPod. Go Apple for the win.
Apple always.
All they do is win. They were not happy.
They were not happy
were not
because obviously the iPod, Apple kind of got them.
Far superior.
took the leg up on
Apple
that one.
got them, and
Yeah, and
man.
Microsoft, it just goes with the territory. They, just choose to be grumpy, I guess, So
exactly.
So that's a bad deal there.
Come on, Bill.
We'll finish this off. Number 5, Ricky Gervais helped popularize podcasts, and let that be what it is. Like, maybe that's enough to get you out of podcasting right there.
Oh,
I don't know.
No, gosh, no, I'm not going anywhere. I have one other shout out before we get rolling into this. Shout out friend of the show, Kim Fundingsland. He landed a state record tiger muskie over the weekend. It was 41 inches long, 41 and a quarter inches long. Yep. Big shout out to Kim. I'm looking at it right now. I didn't want to bug Jonathan. He was doing a lot over there.
Yeah.
As you can see your screen shifting around, that's him still actively producing on the fly here.
They don't get to see that, dude.
Oh, they can't tell?
Secrets, yeah.
Oh, I can't. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, dude. So, yeah, that's some cool stuff. Some other cool stuff you may have seen. I don't know. You may have seen, but we've have some fantastic content coming out.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be able to say that, but we have some really good content coming out of the Dakotan. Last week, sat down with
Dr. Scott Fall.
Dr. Scott Fall.
I was there for that one.
I got his name right.
Yeah, Fall like ball.
Yeah, not on the podcast. Got to listen to that to find out. Sat down with Visit Mina, Edie, Stephanie Shainraw.
Yep.
That was a good interview.
You guys did great.
Newest city council member, Mike Hayes. Okay. Those are all released.
Yeah.
Today we're sitting down with District 40 Senator Jose Castaneda. Name is spelled right now, so we're sorry about that. We'll make sure they can see that too. So that's exciting. And then there's more to come, though. We've already sat down with interim city manager Tom Joyce. As a matter of fact, I got interim city manager Tom Joyce to commit to something big.
What'd you
I
do?
ain't telling. Actually, we are going to tell. Because we need you. we need everybody to participate in this. If we can get 4,000 people in the city of Minot to do the citizen satisfaction survey, I always say customer, the citizen satisfaction survey, 4,000 people, then Tom Joyce will take a pie in his face.
Really? Well, I got to take it now for sure.
We got to do this. It takes 12 minutes of your time.
It's
not
easy.
that long.
You got to send the URL somehow.
We will. We'll get the URL out there, and
right.
we're gonna. Yeah, if we can get.
We've got the whipped
4,000
cream
people,
left
there's
over.
already over. Yeah, we've already got over. The city already has over 800 people that have taken it.
That's awesome.
And so yeah, their stretch goal is 4,000. I was like, here at the Dakota, and when we have stretch goals, we kind of put challenges with them, and like right now, there's a stretch goal that we have that the Seattle Mariners and the San Diego Padres will both be in the World Series.
Okay.
And if they do, Kyler's going to shave his head.
Oh, well, there you go.
There's no way. There's no way.
There's a way. There's a way.
Possible.
There's no way, right?
There's still
Until it
possible.
happens.
So the Mariners already have a bye. So they just have to win 2 rounds, get through 2 rounds, and the Padres have a tougher task. But you know what? There's a chance.
There's
Always a chance.
Yeah,
Gosh,
we're
I
looking
hope
forward to that. But that's just the beginning of the interviews that we have scheduled.
You've got a lot lined up.
We have another one that we're not talking about yet, but that one could come out tomorrow. The interview with Tom Joyce will not come out till either late tonight or tomorrow, because tonight there's actually a big deal going on down at City Hall where they're going to be figuring out the next city manager for the city of Minot. And so when we set up the interview, didn't realize that was literally going to be the same day, the release day, and I didn't want to
probably wait till that kind of settles and then release it.
Yeah, it felt like maybe that'd be the best thing to do.
That's fair.
So that's what we're doing. But tomorrow for sure we'll have that out. Thursday we'll have a live. We have an interview with potentially the mayor coming out this week. And then another cool interview is, if it all works out, we're trying to get Mr. Ryan Ackerman on an interview. So that could be pretty exciting.
That'd be a good one to have. I look forward to those.
That'll be a really good interview. We haven't
Jonathan, you've
talked
just been
with him yet.
putting out the work this
so I'm
last
excited
week.
about that one. Yeah, hey, you know what? I finally decided to do some work. So pretty excited about that. All right. Well, that's a lot of housekeeping. Got through all that. Thank you for coming
That's
on.
a lot, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to watching all these. I'm sitting here going, okay, when are all these coming out?
Yeah.
And Jonathan's been
Exactly.
pumping out the shorts,
Really
so you can
appreciate
check
your
the
support.
shorts and the reels. Those have been posted all around
Exactly.
too. Yeah.
If you want to know what's going on around town, just watch those shorts, watch those interviews Jonathan does.
Yeah.
Small little shout out to Dakota, and you do get a lot of really solid, to the heart, local. I would call more than news. It's just, at the end of the day, something I really love about North Dakota is that we are small, which means that, the people around us that, whether it be politics or any sort of, community leadership position, they really, I mean, not that at the, the world stage or national politics are not normal people, but I mean, here it's just, many of these people, have a real job they're doing beyond just their leadership position. So sitting down and just getting to know them, really, it means a lot. And I think it means more in smaller states like North Dakota where that really matters. So
I really appreciate that.
So I think it's good.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Means a lot.
Without a doubt.
So
That's we try to have that free flow and open conversation and dialogue here. And we love to let people get to know people like you, for example.
There you go. Thank you.
for sure. So we have a good topic list today.
Where do you want to start, Jonathan?
I don't know. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with, should we wrap up the budget since the budget season's coming to an end?
That's fair.
Okay.
It's a good spot. So the Ward County feels like they pretty much have their budget finalized.
Yep.
There may be some lasting things, but I believe that they have theirs pretty much finalized. City of Minot, this coming Monday, we're going to be really focused on that. So it could be a marathon session. Look forward to that.
Going to get everything finalized
Are you
for
going
the
to show
city's
up with your
budget.
sleeping bag?
That might be fun.
It went 5:30 to midnight 30 last
Yeah,
last
exactly.
time.
Yeah.
So we need to get ready for that.
You were there.
I was there.
You
All
dropped
7
some
hours. Yes.
How, you did that as a senator or as a citizen?
Yes.
A little bit of both. Yes, exactly. Yes. The basis of my comment was that I think that there is definitely a place for economic development, meaning we're going to take your tax dollars and we're going to try to throw them at different businesses coming in, different initiatives to try to essentially reinvest so that those tax dollars become bigger businesses, which means they pay more taxes and it grows. Now, we shouldn't have the idea of, hey, let's just throw anything at the wall and see what sticks. I don't think that's an effective use of tax dollars. That's not an effective use of any company's money if they were trying to advertise, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, to say, hey, let's not, that is a very poor use of tax dollars. I'd rather have my tax dollars go somewhere else or lowered so that they're not used for that. I don't think that's the right answer either. Sometimes are we a little too high? Are we throwing too much at it and not getting good return on investment? Maybe.
Sure.
But I think economic development does require a good look every 6 months or year out saying, okay, what have we thrown money at?
Yeah.
And I mean, when I say 6 months, maybe every 6 months, look at the last 5 years worth of investments, and maybe you invested in 10 companies and 5 went under.
Yeah,
well, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah, you can't expect a perfect score on that,
exactly.
But also,
but you need to look back. So that was basically based on my comments saying that just completely throw everything at it is probably not the right answer.
Yeah.
But we also, economic investment is an important part of growing a city, and we shouldn't, because we're upset maybe certain ways that it might have been done in the past, doesn't mean that we just need to get rid of it all. So I didn't necessarily give any answers, 'cause I don't think I have any.
Yeah, just some
but I want to
perspective,
temper the conversation.
Yeah.
Not so it's not as polarized. We got to find that middle ground.
You mentioned though economic development, and that's something that has been a conversation that has come up a lot. It's difficult to track this metric, and I think that's one of the frustrating points that is coming out. Visit Minot, sat down with Stephanie Shanerock. She had a ton of great insights. It was a good interview, and she talked about kind of the metrics that they use to track some of this stuff, and they do a good job tracking, but it's difficult to always see when you put money here that you get results here. That's like if you're going to run Google ads, we're going to put this much money and then we're going to see how many leads we get from it, and then we're going to know if this is successful or not. And I don't know if the metrics are that cut and dry for economic development, which drive people that are putting money into it. It drives them crazy.
It is, and I think that's a valid point, and that's something that probably look at other cities to see what other cities doing to be able to measure that, and I think the measurement is twofold. One, to keep narrowing down on what types of economic development have the biggest return on investment, but also if you were to look at a city, as think about the mayor's, the CEO, the councils, the board, and all of us are investors, shareholders. It is owed to us to say how our tax dollars are being used. But also think of a big company that advertises in so many places. It's a tough time saying, okay, was my little bit on the commercial from the 9 to 10 o'clock slot, is that what increased sales? Or was it the fact that I put out Google ads, et cetera? So which of these things that I'm doing, because doing multiple things at a time, is what is working. But I've also challenged Minot EDC. I think you do a good job to come up with but more metrics. I mean, and you can tell by the tone and what was going on in that mega meeting, at least that portion of it, that people are looking for that.
For sure.
And I think it is important. I think they deserve it. And we need to find those metrics. Not easy, as Jonathan pointed out, but we got to find them.
At least something to start measuring.
To start looking at. Exactly.
Try to get some quantitative value to it all.
We need to.
Yeah. And also, I think you made a great point when you were saying there, too, like just completely wiping it off the map isn't going to solve anything either. Yeah.
No.
You got to keep some level of reinvestment into the city going. Maybe, again, I think one big thing, maybe we've been doing too much for a little too long, and we could maybe scale back a bit, but to wipe it out entirely probably isn't the move.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Good stuff there. All right. So as you have seen this budget process come down to the end, this is a lot of what we talked about last time, but I just want to kind of come full circle on it. As you see it come down to the end here, what are your thoughts on this as you have seen cities fight, counties fight, park districts, school boards, they all fight to get under that 3% cap. I know in our area, it seems like everybody has successfully achieved that. And they're just making the final remedies to their budget. What's your not getting into the throes of should this be there, was it the right percentage? But when you just look at it from a 30,000 foot view, which is where you like to hang out, you like to hang out in the air.
Exactly.
Was this something that was successful? Did we kind of get a step in the right direction?
I think we did, because there's nothing wrong when you have to force governments to truly hold themselves to a budget. If we got it wrong, maybe it should have been more money in some places, less in others. Like I said, talk about where I think 3% was a good start, but I think we could have without making it too complicated, because it's been too complicated to be like, and now you truly start to surgically from Bismarck tell every city exactly what the budget needs to be. So I think that was a good number, and I think that obviously everyone's going to be able to get their budget to that point. The real question is going to be 6 months to a year from now, sticking to that budget.
Yep, when that next cycle starts.
When that cycle starts, but also going back, okay, maybe there were some things that got cut, maybe some things that didn't grow as much. And we're not going to know, I think, until we put it into play to know if things that got cut or weren't grown, how much of a community effect they're going to have, and how do we go back and tweak that.
Yeah, for sure. And one other thing that kind of happened at that meeting too that made a little bit of headlines around the state was the city of Minot decided not to renew its membership in the League of Cities.
Yes.
Do you, any kind of just surface level takes on that?
Well, as soon as it happened, I mean,
everyone kind of perked up.
Wow. I was like, okay,
everyone woke up a little at 10:30 at night.
I did not know. I mean, right, wrong, or indifferent. I didn't know it was a $25,000 a year subscription. So that was interesting too. I mean, I don't know if 25,000 is a lot or not a lot, but that I didn't know. Additionally, whether the League of Cities does a good job for Minot or not, I think it's for Minot to know. So I mean, my point on that is that I'm fairly agnostic.
Sure.
Okay.
It's if the customer feels that their interests are not being sold correctly,
Right.
Then find a different one, right? I mean, do we need some sort of help in Bismarck? Do cities some sort of acknowledging? Of course they do. If they feel it's a different avenue. So I'm agnostic one way or another. But if they feel they were being served correctly by that company they effectively hired, well, then they'll have to either hire a different one or go back and renegotiate.
Yeah.
What are we getting for $1?
Exactly.
And maybe sometimes I do feel that whenever budgets are capped, it starts to force a company, a family, a city, right?
Whatever the entity may be.
Entity has that budget. You're forced to start looking at real hard things that normally you might not even look at.
Yeah.
From a family level, it can be like, well, we have Netflix and Amazon Prime and this and that and the other, and you're just like, well,
pick
do
two.
we keep them all, or do we have to pick the two, right?
Yeah.
And that's not such bad of a thing.
Yeah.
And this might have been just that effect of, it goes back to economic development. Is $25,000 we're spending on this worth our buck?
Yeah.
Right.
And we've effectively hired through election 7 people to sit up there to make that decision. And if they decided that it wasn't worth the $25,000 of our taxpayer dollars, then so be it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So
I think that's fair. We do have a comment from Randa Schuler. Business owners need to be diligent in finding out how their customers are finding them, and then we should be sharing that data with places like Visit Minot. And it's true.
it's very true.
Especially, I think, especially for, like, every business could do that, but especially for businesses that are going to be affected by people that are coming in and out of the city more, where you get to see that. Although that being said, the number that they had on the credit card transactions was amazing. A stat that she shared with us is 30%, around 30% of credit card transactions happen by people not in the city of Minot.
Which that's a third of purchases in Minot effectively
Are
come
from
from people from out of town. Yep.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
And that's incredible. That's good because that means that 30% of our sales tax revenue is not coming from us, right?
Yep.
Someone else is subsidizing it for us.
Yep.
Right.
That, that's any city would love to have
No
that.
one's
right?
gonna argue that at the city level.
Right? Exactly. I don't have to, 70 or 30% of my road is paid for by somebody else.
Yep.
No, that's
wonderful.
Yep.
No, yeah, I think she brings up a very good point. I know my Chamber EDC, obviously they have a lot of businesses that are members,
Yep.
right? Just like
Yep.
we were talking about. So I think they do have an ability to leverage their members because it should be a circular, two-way conversation. Hey, we're doing this.
Yeah.
You members that are paying, they're paying some sort of subscription to be part of the Minot Chamber EDC. Can come back and say, is
This
it
is
working?
some of the data.
Right? And so
Yep.
bring
Yep.
the data back and forth. And
Similar parallel to the Minot and League of Cities with the businesses in the chamber.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
And I know that they're working on big projects.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
We've heard that from several places. And so there's exciting stuff that's happening. And,
Yeah.
and they
Really
they
cool
do
stuff
good work.
coming.
I think it's just getting everybody in the same alignment and stuff like that. So hopefully, generally speaking, that bridge has been crossed. I'm sure there'll be some more fine tuning, but hopefully alignment is being found there. All right. I think that covers the budget pretty good.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're in the right direction there. Something new that's coming out, this was being reported on by the North Dakota Monitor. Early next year, there's actually going to be a special session.
Uh-oh.
Are you excited about special sessions?
always excited about special sessions.
Always. That's good.
And let me tell you why I'm excited about special sessions. I'm excited because I'll pull up an email here I have
To get paid.
as we
I'm
get
kidding.
paid. Oh, my
I'm kidding.
goodness.
I'm kidding.
Thanks, Jonathan. Is it fair to say that I lose
Yeah.
money based on my profession when I
How
go,
this actually works.
exactly? So that's all right. I do it for the people of the district because I think I really do think it's
kid.
important. I know you kid, but the reason I like special sessions is because it's not because a special session happens, but I think it is once again a small kind of like a reflection of the fact that we are truly a part-time legislature.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Okay.
I love that. I think everybody should be part-time.
Yeah.
The only thing legislatures, well, not the only thing, one of the biggest things legislatures do is just make laws. That is
fair,
that is kind of a job. And when you make laws, a law is none other than another rule you have to follow.
Yep.
Right? Here's another, and if you don't follow it, there's consequences. Sometimes monetary, sometimes kind of none at all. Sometimes, it could be jail. And that's okay. We have to have rules in society.
For sure.
But there's a point where you got to say, how many rules do we need, right?
Right.
So
Yep.
if we come up with 1,000 bills per session and how many of those pass, how many new rules have we put in? Sometimes it's just tweaking them.
Yeah, it's
but anyway,
altering already in place, but still.
Point being is that when you can limit a legislature like we do in North Dakota, 80 legislative days for every 2 years, I think that is a really, really good thing. Now, are things going to come up where sometimes you need the legislature to help make a decision, get in, fix that, and get back out, and not turn it into another lawmaking
Marathon.
right? Because a special session, you can only go do what special session was called
You're
for.
going there for a reason to accomplish
Nothing else
something.
can, right?
Yep.
It needs it. And so you call it, you go do it, it needs to go out. So it's not so much I'm excited about special sessions, but it is an example of we can do this without having to be in the trenches 24/7, 365. And I think it is a great for any legislator across the states and from the United States of America too, if everyone had to come back to have a real job, get a different perspective of what you're dealing with. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that.
I think that's great perspective on that. There was a special session that should have been called earlier this year, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Concerning a veto. The one that is going to be happening in late January or early February is to make decisions on how the state is going to spend $500 million in federal rural health transformation funds. And it's unclear whether Governor Kelly Armstrong will call the special session or if lawmakers will use their remaining legislative days to gather at the Capitol. Of course, there's a max, talking about that part-time legislator max of 80 days that the legislator can meet. And I believe you guys have 6 days left.
Yes.
So you have 6 days for an entire year. That's crazy. Unless if there's something special called by the governor or something.
Exactly. But we leave those 6 days if we want to call ourselves back, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we as a legislature decide that something is so important and say the governor's not seeing it or we got to get in there and fix this, that's why we do our best to save those days.
Yeah. Always give yourself a little bit of a background.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But if
fallback,
the governor decides on something's going on that's big across the state and it benefits everyone, then most time it is, and it should be called by the governor, so that now it doesn't eat up those days.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's some feelings that it should be called by the governor, some that it should be called by the legislative assembly. Nonetheless, the goal of it is to be clear on how these rural health transformation funds will be used. And this is obviously federal money, but rural health is also a topic in the legislature itself this year. Minot isn't necessarily the most rural in North Dakota, but we're seeing CHI shut down, and there's a lot of people that are upset by that. Maybe not the direct impact of something like this, but is this like how big of a concern is this in North Dakota with the rural health and stuff like that?
I think it is. I get to see it firsthand as a medevac pilot, because obviously if it was as rural as it was, and you have to go pick people up some rural places where the rural place doesn't have the size of a facility, sufficient size facility, to have all the beeps and squeaks and all the monitors that, and equipment that you would need to take care of that person. They do a great job. You can only go so far, right? For example, so you need an MRI, right? You don't have an MRI in Kansas, North Dakota, and that's okay. I mean, to a certain extent, it kind of makes sense. On the perspective, you can say, well, why don't we have an MRI in Kansas, North Dakota, right? I mean, at what point are we getting to the point where it's kind of like saying, well, you can't go get your, I know vaccines have been a big thing in the LA, but let's just say vaccines have been around a long time, not necessarily, newer ones that people may, politically wound up about it, but
you need a polio vaccine.
Right, exactly, right? And you say, well, you can't get that; it's not available in Kansas, North Dakota.
Yeah,
and well, why not? Like that's been around forever. How long MRI has been around that it couldn't be useful and helpful? And sometimes I think medicine's one of those things where it's a little tougher. You can't say, well, that MRI machine would get used 4 times. Well,
how do you just do
you justify it? Do you not?
Yeah,
right?
and
if it was life saving at that moment, then great.
Exactly.
If at that moment you can say, yep, we could have used that would have the cost of flying someone, but the cost of flying someone in a medevac is also pretty high.
Yep.
I mean, you justify by saying if it's not emergent, how many times you have to fly people out of X place to get them somewhere, and if that place had it, would have. Because at the end of the day, if you add this all up, sure, different people are paying different parts of healthcare, but it is, you can arguably add it up and say this is the cost of healthcare in North Dakota.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And I'm not an expert, but I can just kind of see saying, look, if we put added certain services and certain equipment to places that don't have them right now, once again, is that an investment? That'd be a return on investment, because now you have those there and you don't have to move people. And then when it is emergent, you have it there and you don't have to wait for the helicopter, the airplane to come get you. And that now what the waiting.
In a lot of those cases, those minutes or hours can make a big difference.
They could completely, right? And so definitely we're very, very rural, and I think it's definitely important, and I think it's going to be good money and put to good use. And so I really think it's going to be a good session, because we'll be able to sit down and just really concentrate on just that.
That's good.
For sure. So great insight there. We're going to take a quick break.
We'll be back
in a minute and 15.
See if it works.
Oh, this guy doubts.
In the demanding world of oil and gas, precision, safety, and efficiency are non-negotiable. Unmanned operator drone services revolutionizes how you monitor, inspect, and manage your operations. With cutting-edge technology and expert operators, we deliver real-time data, detailed reports, and actionable insights for our valuable clients. Why risk the safety of your team or waste precious time? Our drones access even the most challenging areas with ease, reducing downtime and enhancing safety across your sites. We take the guesswork out of your projects by offering LiDAR, mapping, and inspection services so that your projects stay safe, on budget, and on time. Unmanned operator drone services, where technology meets safety, precision, and efficiency. Contact us today to elevate your operations. Yes, pun intended.
Enjoy Minot's finest authentic Mexican cuisine with a view at Mi Mexico. The rooftop patio is open and ready for you to enjoy a margarita or other cool refreshment along with genuine mouth-watering Mexican entrees. Mi Mexico, South Broadway.
We're back.
We are back.
It did work.
Yeah.
I
This
doubted.
guy's
I'm sorry.
Always out here questioning. Did want to say, thank you just to everyone that supports us. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Make sure you check out the newsroom that we're building up.
Make sure you check that out if you want. Also, Kylie's going to spill his drink, but that's all right.
Oh, I fixed it. I heard it.
Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook. A lot of people do that. We appreciate that. Follow us on Instagram. Sat down with Tom Joyce. He had a lot of fantastic quotes. You'll be
And we're
seeing those on Instagram.
Yeah, because we're posting reels a bunch now, and,
And we'll be
shorts
posting
and all
more of
those.
that. Our
Yep.
Instagram content's about to get leveled up.
Yep.
Twitter or X.
X. Yep.
A post on X, no longer a tweet.
I think we still live stream on X too.
But maybe not today.
Maybe not
I
today.
think there's something that bugged out.
Ah,
That would be the problem.
shouldn't have
That
said anything.
And we're going to start Rumble or live streaming again on Rumble.
Oh,
We're going
all
to rumble
right.
away on Rumble.
Let's
Back
do
to
it.
Rumble.
Right,
Good.
we did at one point.
We put one episode out on Rumble.
We did it once.
Yeah, well, we had problems with it. At that time, our software didn't have a direct integration.
Oh,
and so
see?
we had to go and do it manual. And I tried once and I failed and I didn't go back to it because I didn't feel like it's that important for us. But at this point,
But
it
now,
is. It is.
Now we're growing.
It's important. Yep.
I love it.
So, yeah, be sure to follow along. We have a lot of content going out on all those Minot stuff, man.
Yeah.
Hey, here's the deal. There's some state stuff we're working on. And, there's a place up north that nobody knows about. State, federal senators don't know about it, but we do. Place called Dunseith. And so, we've been working on that project.
Yep.
But locally, we'll continue to provide the local news and coverage. And love that.
Yes. Get all of the great guests, everyone that loves to come on. We appreciate everyone, especially you, Jose. Doing
Yeah,
twice
thank
in
you.
like 6 weeks here. It's
Yeah, what
great.
a guy! What a guy! So there's a draft bill that's coming up. All right, so draft bill that's coming up where you guys or the Legislative Council has looked at ways to kind of revamp how vetoes after session. So right at the end of session, how it works.
So there's two points to this. The one we you shared with me. So basically, it's an old parliamentary rule. Say that 6 times fast, right?
Good luck.
That keeps legislation moving effectively, and you don't have 15 people trying to change at the same time and you lose track of who's who.
Sure.
And the rule says that only one entity at any given time that is physically holding that bill can make any changes to it. So if you really geek out and you want to watch this the whole time while we're in session every so often, you'll get a motion, because let's say you want to move a bill from the Judiciary Committee to say the State and Local Government Committee.
Okay.
For whatever reason, it needs to go there. Well, it can't just be passed. It has to be. So you'll see that there'll be a motion put on the floor in the whole Senate, and the same for the House. It says, hey, a motion to move it from the Judiciary Committee back to the floor.
Okay.
And then get second, all in favor, aye, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next motion is
Move
it from the floor to the other committee, right? And then you make a motion, a second. You go through that rigmarole, and it seems unnecessary.
If it's
right?
one bill, it's one thing. But when you start adding it up to potentially,
we do, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, to sometimes for those you see that other times when bills initially get moved, we go on whatever order we are, and everyone says, hey, agree with that order. But if you don't, you can make a point, because that they can move them. The point I'm making is that in order to be able to make a change to a bill, that entity, whether it's a subcommittee, et cetera, needs to hold it, right? Okay, so Now let's go to the two kinds of bills that we have generally, have in North Dakota. We have policy bills and appropriation bills.
Sure.
Okay.
Our Constitution says that policy bills need to be passed or not passed. The governor can sign them or veto them holistically, right, as a whole. He can't say, well, I don't like this little policy. If it's a policy bill, either approve the whole thing or veto it.
No line item vetoes for the policy stuff.
But so if the veto is or the bill is vetoed, it comes back to the legislature. So what can the legislature do? Possibly override that veto, right, with enough votes. But once again, the whole point I made initially was because the legislature needs to be holding that bill, not the governor, not the secretary of state. If we're not holding it, we can't do anything with it.
You can't go back to it.
Right? Just like if the governor's not holding it, he can't sign it or veto it.
Yeah.
If the secretary of state's not holding it, he can't sign it to essentially, secretary of state is kind of like think of like you and I sign a contract and then Jonathan notarizes it, right? Secretary of State is like the notary. Like he says, I followed the whole process. It followed all the rules. It's legit, right? So the point being is that now you've got a bill that is an appropriations bill. Well, governor decides to veto a portion of it, which you totally, can do that.
Yep.
Well, the rest of the bill is still good, and 9 times out of 10, it might be one small thing out of the appropriations bill that gets vetoed.
Right.
Because it's only one small thing, it may not necessarily come back to the House or the Senate, the House of Origin, right? Chamber of Origin. So, because it'll go to Secretary of State, and the Secretary of State will sign it,
right?
Because he's still approving the remainder of the whole bill.
Right, yeah.
Well, what if the legislature wanted to override that line item veto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Now all of a sudden,
well, I need it back.
Yep.
If for some reason at some point in the future you had a majority of one party, maybe in one house, the other house had a different majority. What if the Secretary of State was of a different party, right? I mean,
hypothetically,
and you might, that tends to have a little bit more of a, well, I'm not going to pass you the bill, etc.
You could see people sitting on stuff more in that case. Yeah.
What this law would effectively say is that in the case where there is, say, a line item veto or a veto for that matter, then upon request of the House, even if it's, even after the end of the session, after signing to die, Mr. Secretary of State, you have to give us the bill.
Yep.
Good.
I think that's fair. I don't see any issue.
Exactly. Yeah. So that if in the case that the legislator would want to override that line item veto,
yep.
then you have
especially
to, right?
if it happens on, say, the last day of session or something. Yep.
And another one that's out there based on kind of like what happened earlier is, and it's out there somewhere, if not probably soon to be, is maybe something that just lets you know that in the case of what happened, I think we talked about last time, where the bill was crossed out, a line was vetoed, but that was not discussed in his veto message because that was vetoed in error. Well, which one takes precedence? And it went back and forth.
Yep.
And so I think the bill that would be coming out is going to say that what takes precedence is the crossouts you do on the bill itself.
The line itself. Okay.
Exactly. And that way it's once again, that way it's not to be, to, do anything. It's just like, okay, we have this issue, which one takes precedence? Yeah. And if in turn it was a clerical error, okay, wonderful. You vetoed it, didn't mean to, the legislature's still on board. It might just have to be another parliamentary procedure where it goes all the way back to the House, to the Senate. We override his veto, and I say air quotes because
it's technically
and we the legislature helps fix the clerical mistake that was made in the executive branch, and we're helping each other out. But then that way, there's no ambiguity. So that takes that's the controlling document. Period. Dot. And we're good.
There's not the ability for someone to play wordsmith post facts and try to change how that intent may or may not have been at that
In
point.
this case, I don't want people to think, what happened. I don't think there was any. I think it was an error, and how do we fix this error?
Exactly. No, for sure.
And you know
all
what?
that.
There's a lot of positiveness because to bring the legislature back, we're talking about special sessions,
Yep.
costs money, and it's a significant amount of money. So if we can possibly, and there is a way to get something done, and not necessarily have to bring the legislature back, you're saving taxpayer dollars,
Yep.
right? But if you got to bring it back, you got to bring it back, and you got to do it, right?
Yep.
So
I think one thing though that kind of felt like it got highlighted, or not highlighted would be the wrong word, but attention drawn to is like this relationship between the AG's office, in governor, in maybe even the legislatures, and just from the standpoint of there was something that was put in place. The AG is almost defending the governor, but then you guys also work closely with the AG's office through this entire thing, like with the legislative council and all the different factors. Can you kind of break down your guys' relationship and what kind of like are they to support, or is it kind of where you guys go and have your discussions? How does that work?
No, I think that's a great question, Jonathan. Thanks. I think that at the end of the day, everyone has a very specific job to do, right? And in this case, you could break it down to, we have 3 branches of government. We won't get into that. Everyone knows that. But within a branch, we do have the AG. Something that's, let's say, someone unique about North Dakota. Other states do it too. Is that the Attorney General is not appointed by the governor. Some states there's not. He, in this case, he or the Secretary of State, any of these,
a lot of those high executive positions,
are statewide
elected.
elected. So the Attorney General was elected and owes his, I hate to use the word necessarily allegiance, but it's like, okay, who is your boss?
Right.
His boss is the people. The governor's boss is the people. They have the same boss, which at the end of the day is the people. North Dakota, the way the Constitution was written, was very much that at the end of the day, the people are the boss, right? And that's, I really, really like that. So if the governor and the Attorney General happen to see eye to eye on a subject, okay, wonderful. But if they happen to not see eye to eye on a subject, well, that's wonderful too. And actually, that's really a good thing because in this case, the Attorney General, could also, in some case, Secretary of State, doesn't have to feel beholden to, well, he's the guy who kind of hired me, et cetera. Do I have any allegiance to my boss? No, it's like, no, this is what I think the right thing to do based on legal precedent, et cetera.
Yeah.
Now, we disagree, and there's disagreements, whether it's from the legislature or within the executive branch. You can always go to the judiciary to try to find that out. Or at the end of the day, if it's not going to be anything constitutional, and people are arguing about how a law should be interpreted, well, what's one of these things the legislature can do? Come back and try to pass an amendment to that law that takes away the interpretation to says, no, this is the way we want it. Ultimately still needs to be signed by the governor.
Sure.
But then again, if the legislature feels very, very strongly, as two houses, at least, right, 3/4 of them feel strongly that, no, this is the way it should be, then it obviously makes a veto irrelevant because if you walk out with 3/4 majority on both sides wanting to be a certain way,
it's going to happen.
Then it's going to happen. And now that completely overrides absolutely everything. And many would argue, hey, we fixed the glitch. Because, if they're arguing over something that is not spelled out exactly and there is room for interpretation, well, then interpretation is going to happen.
Right, yeah. This is true.
Right? And so they're doing their job.
Yeah, it's there at the end one way or the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I was going to say, on the similar note with the Attorney General, there's been some talk about the Summit pipeline that's happening in South Dakota with how their governors recently signed in a bill pretty much denying eminent domain to Summit, and there was a lot of comments from our Attorney General, possibly saying that there could be some action taken by the state. Now it looks like no interest in that happening.
Yes.
How familiar are you with that Summit issue?
Somewhat. I have my. If you want my point of view on what I feel, happy to give it to you.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, I mean, on the whole
We
carbon
can start
pipeline.
big. Yeah, we can start macro and then go a little more
Maybe
micro.
like to. Okay, so big picture, the TLDR is I do not believe that carbon is being used now should have eminent domain.
Sure.
That is my 2 cents. I've said it loud and proud, if you will, and it's as it's used now. I think that there's 2 ways that carbon can be used when it comes to oil, right? And 2 options they've been giving, and this all just come back to that wonderful 45Q credit that you get from the federal government. If that were to go away, and there's some talk about that going away in Washington, whether or not that ever happens or not, we'll see. I think that completely changes the landscape, and a lot of what we're talking about kind of goes away.
Yeah.
But as it stands now, you can do 2 things with carbon that you capture. You can either sequester it, which means you stick it underground and hope it calcifies into limestone or different things like that and goes away. Or you can take it and use for enhanced oil recovery.
Sure.
I mean, you pump it down into wells and you see if you can revive wells, you can get more oil out. Right? So now I am not anti-oil. I am pro-oil. Drill, baby, drill. Right? Someone said that, hey, right where my house sits is where you got to drill because that is where the oil is going to come from to run the state of North Dakota and the country because we are petroleum reliant economy, and it is what it is. I would do my best to get the best price I can get for my house, and eminent domain would take it, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
I understand our economy runs on oil,
Right.
but now you want to tell me, hey, I want to take, to have eminent domain, and I clearly did not go to law school, so any comments there that want to straighten me out. But to have an eminent domain, you generally have to have a common carrier if you're going to move something.
Yeah.
And that common carrier should move a common commodity. Okay. So we have a list in law about these things are considered common commodities. Sure. Well, I do not believe that when carbon dioxide is used to stick underground, to sequester, to hope that it goes away and no longer carbon dioxide.
How's that a commodity?
It's not a commodity, right?
Yeah.
And gold's a commodity. Hey, I've got a magic little box. Why don't you stick your gold bar in here? I'm going to close it, and when we open it up 5 years from now, it's going to be lead. Like, would you put it in there?
Yeah, that's not a deal I want to make.
No one would do that because that gold has worth, right? So when you're willing to take carbon dioxide and put it away like that and hope it goes away, it's not a common commodity. Plus, what happens if it leaches back out? It has other issues.
It's something that hasn't really been over long term, at least yet,
done,
fully.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I'd like for it to get figured out before the government comes in and says, this farm that you've been in your family for 100 years, to be honest with you, who cares if it's 100 years, 200 years, or 3 months?
Yeah.
It's your property. We're going to force you to either give away part of your property as far as pore space to put it underneath, or to run the pipeline
through it,
right?
Right.
Now, in Texas, for example, they've have some success with carbon dioxide, being used for enhanced oil recovery.
Yep.
The wells are a little bit different. They they dig more vertically. We tend to do a little more horizontally in North Dakota.
That fracking and everything.
Does it work here? I haven't seen anything where they fully say yes, it works. When it's working. I mean, why don't we use natural gas? How much natural gas is coming out that we're flaring right now because we don't have the ability to do anything else with it? Let's take that. And I know old people be like, well, it's a lot more complex than that. It is. There's a lot of complexities. Yeah. I do feel there's a lot more value in carbon dioxide being giving it the putting in the category of a common commodity if you're going to use it for enhanced oil recovery. But we got to prove that it really is working.
Yeah.
Right? For that becomes it's akin,
at least
connected to oil, right?
Yeah. You can put more of a physical value to it by doing that rather than it just disappearing effectively.
But the sequestration, to move it just so I can move it places, so I can turn around and sequester it. To me, that part seems like no. That's not it. Now, so why does South Dakota say no? Well, because South Dakota neither has oil nor the pore space, right?
Yeah.
To put it away. So for them, what are we going to do with this?
Why
just
bother?
Run it through?
Yeah.
Exactly right. Like I said, Texas enhanced oil recovery, it works. Here in North Dakota, I think. I haven't seen anything that proves otherwise.
It's still, if they're assuming they're working on it, it's still in its infancy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the Attorney General, well, let's just say here in North Dakota, we have our pipelines, we put them together, whatever, to my chagrin, but we do all that. Well, we got to move through South Dakota. South Dakota currently, for the reasons we talked about, says no, they're not going to use eminent domain for this. Pass the law says it can be used, but Now the next question comes, how about the interstate commerce clause?
Okay.
Whole point was put in place to say that no, one state shouldn't be able to hold up the whole country, if you will, big picture because of that. So now by South Dakota saying no, are they effectively now holding everything up, and are they getting kind of like ahead of themselves, by and trying, effectively making national policy ish, because of that. And so that's where the suit would have come in. Are they really getting ahead of themselves?
Yeah.
So at first he said, that was on the table. I just know he says, okay, well, not. I don't know what the inside baseball of that is looking like, but outside of the whole picture of whether should or shouldn't be a common commodity, that's where the Attorney General is looking at. And to a certain extent, even though I may disagree with the whole portion like we talked about, I do have to give him props because he is big picture looking for the interests of North Dakota. And if we have something that we want to do, should South Dakota be able to just stop, let's come to a full stop, just because they disagree with what we do up here.
Especially when Iowa and Nebraska are all on board with it too, or the other places that pipeline's going through.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's for lawyers to figure out. Like I point out, I am definitely not a lawyer.
The legal
but
expert
hopefully
isn't
maybe
here.
my understanding of it as a non-lawyer, and hopefully my explanation of it to you guys may help all our my constituents and our viewers. Maybe kind of simplify it a little bit to kind of see where that's going.
I think it helped wrap the whole big picture back together a little bit more too, for sure.
So I'm definitely, if there's proof that it works for enhanced oil recovery,
all for it.
I'm on board. If we're going to say that 45Q lends it to that hey, we should sequester some of it before we start using it. It definitely helps oil companies move that direction. Not a fan, but that being said, for that, to me, no, that's not a common commodity. Therefore, you don't get to move it through a common carrier. Therefore, eminent domain
shouldn't be brought up for that. Yeah, that's fair.
Quick hit on this, different topic, but quick hit because we're coming to the end here.
Man,
already.
Time flies when we're having fun.
Yeah, time flies. The North Dakota State Board of Higher Education voted to make interim chancellor, former Lieutenant Governor Brent Sanford, as the long-term leader of the state's university system. I know that you are part of some committees with education. Thoughts?
On this one, I don't have any yet because I've not dug into that. The Committee on Education will meet later on this month for our first our first meeting, and so I have not yet gotten myself wound up on that topic just yet. Whether it was good pick, bad pick, my 2 cents on there.
Hey, I think he was a good lieutenant governor.
Yeah, I still to this day am surprised that he stepped down with, maybe he doesn't win against Kelly Armstrong, but that was a sitting wide open opportunity to run for governor post Burgum.
Do you think he aligned?
I think he does better than Tammy Miller did. I don't know if
I'm saying, do you think Burgum allows him to run?
See,
do you think Burgum endorses him?
That's where I think some of that came
Tammy
from.
Miller aligned a lot with Burgum, and I don't know if Sanford aligned to the same measure.
I think that's where a lot of that came from. Maybe he didn't necessarily want to run for governor either. That could have been some of it, but I think so much of it was, if you were, and this is pure speculation, but if you're to Doug Burgum, former governor, if you were going to run to follow him up, he wanted to endorse you. He wants you to be very much in line with his policy. And maybe Sanford wasn't as lockstep with him as Tammy Miller was. Thoughts on that? But that's a whole side street there. Yeah.
Perhaps the senator will stay out of that discussion. But nonetheless, we have Kelly Armstrong. He's working away. So
it's been a popular first year so far.
Yeah,
can't argue that. Anything else we've got? I feel like there was something else, but I'm forgetting now. It's coming.
I don't know. It's not on the list. The last topic was education, and we have 3 minutes, so there's no need to go too deep into that.
We're good.
So it's been a good discussion. It's been a good day.
Yes.
We had the senator on.
Thank you very much. You guys are always
kind. It's always fun to have you on. I enjoy it.
Coming and giving my 2 cents, and
It's always appreciated.
hopefully it won't anger too many people with my 2 cents.
Oh, I hope so.
I
That'll
do
help
have
us.
breaking news.
Okay.
I don't know if either of you guys are hockey fans, but
this can't be
the
good.
Minnesota Wild just extended their superstar Kirill Kaprizov to what is a record-breaking 8-year, $17 million a year deal.
It's up to the year.
It is, I think, $135 million total, and until Connor McDavid signs probably next summer, this is the most expensive contract in hockey history.
All right, let's take a moment on this. Okay? Because the reality is this. If you play hockey, you're going to lose teeth and you're going to be messed up for the rest of your life. You get $17 million a year, and that's a record. If you play football, you're going to have broken bones, fingers that are going to stick out sideways, and be messed up the rest of your life. And you get paid good money if you're a quarterback. If you're one of the dudes in the trenches, you get paid all right money compared to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay, but the quarterback is going to be like $50-60 million a year compared to the hockey guy.
Yeah.
And then if you play basketball, you're probably going to have some things that are going to be messed up for the rest of your life, but not to the extent that they are in hockey or football, and you get paid almost more than that. And then the highest, though, is baseball.
But only for the best of the best.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing
Yeah,
with
but
baseball.
come on, dude. Like, how many baseball players are there? That's the contrast that I have for you.
Yeah, if you, even just in Major League Baseball, every team keeps a 26-man roster. Then if you expand to the minor leagues, and
So the football has it beat.
yeah, in the pros,
Football has it beat. But baseball has more players.
Yeah.
Baseball has not a 20-some. Isn't it a 40%?
well, I was going to say when you expand into the minor leagues, because you
not-
have the 40-man rosters to pretty much play with all season long. So you're going to have your 26 that are in the majors, and then you're going to have the 40 you have the ability to call up. And so those other 14 guys are going to be spread out between double and triple A, and they're all making the league minimum, which my biggest point of that, the baseball has the smallest league minimum of any of the major, well, the 3 major. I can't say if it has a higher one or lower than hockey. I don't know off the top of my head. And so you have them, because there's so many of them, and I'm not saying like $750,000, $800,000 a year is anything to sneeze at, but you have such a wide discrepancy from the lowest end of that spectrum to the highest end, where you have people making, 50. I mean, how much did Shohei Ohtani sign for? 10 years? Like,
Yeah, he's getting paid like $1 million a year right now.
well, that's because it's deferred, but in
Like a $700 million deal or something.
yeah, in principle, it should be like $50 or $70 million a year, and just shows there's a bit of a spread on that. But
yeah.
my whole thing, I just had to shout out Kirill Kaprizov there. So Wild are still going to be, making the playoffs just to lose in the first round. I'm excited.
I mean, it's just incredible, though, the pay in the different sports. For sure. They don't pay senators that much.
No,
Yeah,
And you
That's
guys
okay.
affect the whole GDP of the country. So
we do.
yeah,
We do.
that's crazy. Yeah. That's a whole different topic. Yep. Teachers and senators and stuff could be going into free agency for bidding wars, but instead we get
Could you
football.
imagine?
It'd be a trip. That'd be.
That'd be
You have
awesome,
Minot
honestly.
Public, Bishop Ryan, and R.E. Deemers all bidding on the best teacher in town.
I mean, it kind of happens on the free market.
Indirectly.
Basically, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
It's not publicized the same.
Yeah,
That's all the
it's-
differences.
Well, and the numbers matter.
Well, the numbers, but they still
Principally,
it's just the
principally it's
markets
the
are
same.
different.
Yes.
Yeah, principally it's the same. Free market, baby.
Well, on that note, anything else you have, Jonathan?
That one won't be turned into a short.
Yeah, probably not. Senator, any final words of wisdom, thoughts here today?
Well, words of wisdom. None of that's going to come out of my mouth. I assure you.
Yeah, the last couple minutes.
Military pilot and medevac pilot decided that I was going to give a shot at some sort of level of governing, and my 2 cents on capitalism and conservatism, and trying to bring that every day.
I love
Not
it.
sure
I
if
love
that's
that.
words of wisdom, but that's my. I rely on
good.
wisdom to figure out where we go.
I love it.
Any football update?
No, nothing we need to talk about. Had a game yesterday. It's okay. Yep.
Did you score points?
We're on to next Monday. Got 2 games left.
That's where we're no
2
points
games
scored.
left.
No points scored. It was a rough one.
Hey,
Well,
2 games left.
I hope you at least go 50-50.
I hope so.
You want to win them.
We got to win.
You got to at least win one of the two.
Yeah, I hope
Right?
so. I think next Monday we got a good chance.
Okay, next Monday. We'll get an update next Tuesday, or are you going to shy away from that one too?
Just like I didn't not give an update today. It didn't
you
go great
tried
yesterday.
to get away from the update.
Didn't go great yesterday. We'll say that.
Well, in a little bit of college football news, my alma mater, Air Force, unfortunately lost to Hawaii this weekend. Good hard game, but Hawaii played well, and they lost. I had the opportunity to go there for my 25th reunion, so it was there.
That's huge.
And
That's awesome.
That was fun, and I was like,
You were
man.
at the game?
Oh yeah, at the game the Saturday, because it was the Thursday, Friday, Saturday was the 25th. Yeah, it's the thing. Oh man, we're all getting older. 25 years since college.
That's awesome.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does.
Time
but
flies.
yeah,
Air Force.
Air Force, exactly. Yeah. I wish they would have won, but they played a good game, and but it was fun to see. It's always fun.
That's
to go
awesome.
back
I bet
to
that was a great time to.
It's always fun to go back to Air Force and watch them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you to everyone for tuning in today's episode. Really appreciate it. Be sure to go like us on Facebook. Like us. Just please like us.
Please.
Subscribe. YouTube. Like this video if you're watching on YouTube. Do what you can. Support the Dakota. This is an interesting fact, okay? I understand that when we put out reels and when we put out videos, you may not like the views that are presented on there. But when you hit that dislike button on YouTube, and when you hit that dislike button, it doesn't mean the thing that you may think it may mean. It means you don't like that content. Like you don't want to see any more of that. So it actually makes it where you'll see less content. Not that you just didn't like the view that was portrayed.
If you don't like it, just blast us in the comments.
Just blast us.
Put it like that's fine. Put us on blast.
Terrible views.
You're awful,
hate
Jonathan
views.
Kyler. How dare you?
Yeah, whatever. That's fine.
Just don't dislike it.
Hit that like button. We appreciate you guys' support. Subscribe. We'll see you on Thursday, 9 a.m. We'll have another great episode. And then tomorrow, Wednesday, we're going to be dropping a one-on-one interview. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.